Bike safety. Riding your bike can be a great and fun way to get exercise. There are a lot of safety tips and rules, though, that we should know before we start riding our bike. Some of these rules and tips can include safety equipment, basic bike knowledge, and riding safety tips. We will be going over all of these bike safety tips and rules. Your bike. Since you'll be riding on your bike, we want to make sure it is completely safe to use so you don't get hurt. One safety tip is to check your bike for any cracks or dents to see if anything is broken. Second, you'll also want to make sure to check your tires to make sure there's enough air and not a flat tire. Your bike chain will also need to be checked to make sure it works correctly also. Lastly, you will also want to check your brakes to make sure they work. This is very important because if your brakes do not work, you will not be able to stop, and this is not safe. So if you look at the boy over here, it says the ABCs of bike safety. A for air, so you check the air in the tires. B for brakes, how you stop. So on the handles usually are your brakes. Sometimes you can pedal backwards and stop with some bikes, but most bikes have a handle or two on the front of the handles that you can pull to squeeze to stop. Those are your brakes. And C for the chain. The chain is what connects the pedal to the tire so that it can move. You want to make sure it is on the track and working correctly so that the wheels spin. You should also be riding a bike that is the correct size for you. One way to see if your bike is the correct size is by standing over your bike in front of your seat. Both of your feet should be able to touch the ground while you are standing. If your feet do not touch the ground, it means your bike is too big. You need to be able to stand in front of your seat with both of your feet on the ground so you do not fall over if you're standing waiting to ride your bike. If you're riding your bike and your legs feel really crammed, this can mean you need a bigger bike. When you go to the store, you should use the tips I read above to make sure you buy the correct size bike. So if you look over here, it says how to size a bike. Standing next to a bike will not tell you if there's a proper fit. So you can see the boy standing next to the bike. You can't tell if it's the correct size by standing next to it. If you're straining to reach the ground, the bike is too big or the seat needs to be adjusted. So if you cannot have your feet touch the ground while you are standing over your bike with one leg over and one leg over the other standing in front of the seat, then that means that it is too big for you. If we go over this picture right here, we can see that the boy is standing comfortably with one leg over one side of the bike, one leg over the other. He's in front of the seat. If a child can plant both feet firmly while standing astride the bike, it fits. So you can see his feet stand nicely on the ground, so it is a nice sized bike. Equipment. The first piece of bike equipment we will be talking about is your helmet. It is important not only to wear a helmet, but also that it is the correct size. Your helmet should cover the top of your head and come down almost halfway down your forehead. If your helmet moves around too much and feels like it is wiggling on top of your head, this means it is too big and unsafe to use. If almost all or all of your forehead is showing and other parts of your head are not being covered, then your helmet is too small. Lastly, we need to make sure your helmet is buckled correctly. If your helmet is not buckled, it could come off easily and that would be dangerous. The strap to your helmet should also be snug under your chin. Not too tight where it feels like you are being choked, but the strap also should not look like it is hanging. It should fit nice and snug around the bottom of your chin so your helmet can stay on firmly. So if we look at these pictures, we can see that this man's almost all of his forehead is showing, and there's parts of the side of his head that are not being covered, so this helmet is too small. This helmet right here, it looks like it's a little bit too wobbly on him, so it's too big. However, this one, his helmet covers most of his forehead, goes down most of the side of his head, and his chin strap is nice and snug under his chin, so it fits nicely. Another great choice is to wear elbow pads, knee pads, or gloves. These will help protect you in case you fall down. You could also have a bike bell, which is a great thing to have on your bike to alert others. A lot of times we'll be riding our bikes past people or who are walking or running. If you have a bell, it can warn others that you are riding by. Bike lights. Having a bike light is also a great idea. It isn't safe to ride at night. However, sometimes due to the weather or losing track of time, we can ride our bikes when it gets dark out. Having a bike light helps us to get seen. Reflectors. Reflectors work by having light shine on them, and they shine the light back kind of like a mirror. Everyone should have reflectors on their bikes, especially in the front and the back of their bikes. You can also buy stickers and clothing that have reflective material as well. So if you look at the pictures over here, we can see a picture of the girl has some elbow pads and knee pads on to help keep her safe. We have a couple of bike bells that you can ring that could alert other people when you're riding. A bike light, which is a very good idea for if it's really cloudy or dark out. And these are the bike reflectors. These are very shiny, and when light shines on them, they shine it back and they get really shiny, and it can help you be seen in the dark or when it is kind of cloudy out. On these pictures down here, you can see that the bikes in the front and the back have the reflectors on there, so if a car's light shined on them, it would shine back and make it shiny so they could be seen. Clothing. When riding your bike, you want to make yourself be seen so you are safe. The best way to do that is to wear bright colors so people who are driving, walking, or also riding their bikes can see you easily. Wearing dark clothes is unsafe because it can be harder to see you. You can also buy clothes with shiny or reflective material so you can be seen better as well. Sometimes you may see this with other people who like to ride their bikes, run, or even construction workers. So if we see a picture up here, we see a man and a woman riding their bike. They're wearing bright orange and yellow so they can be seen easier. This is a picture of a vest that could be worn riding a bike, or sometimes we might see construction workers wearing them. Sometimes they're orange as well. It has these stripes here, which are reflective material, kind of like the reflectors on bikes, and they get really shiny when light shines on them. If we look at the picture down here, the boy in this picture right here is wearing a black shirt and dark shorts. Those aren't very good colors, and on his bike he doesn't have any lights or reflectors. Over here, we see that the boy is wearing the helmet, which is very safe. He has bright clothing on. He has reflectors, so they're shiny on his bike so he can be seen, and a reflector right there so he can be seen in the dark as well. And over here we also have tips for night riding as well. Make sure we have reflectors, wear bright clothing, have a helmet on, and also helps to have a light sometimes too. Riding rules. When you are riding on the road, it is important that you ride your bike in the correct direction. Since your bike has wheels on it, just like a car, you must ride your bike in the same direction that the traffic is going. Some roads have a special lane for bikes to ride in. Those people who ride in the road have to ride their bikes in the same direction the traffic is going. So if we look at the picture up here, we can see the car is going to the left. That means that the person riding their bike must also ride the same direction. Our bike has wheels on it, so we have to go the same way that the cars do. Over here at the bottom, we can see that the biker is going the opposite direction as the car. The car is going to the right, biker is going to the left. We should not be doing that. We should be going the same directions as the cars. It says ride with the flow of traffic. Never ride against traffic in the road or in a bike lane. So we always want to ride the same way that the cars are going. It is also not safe to have headphones in your ears listening to music when riding your bike. It is important you can hear your surroundings when you are riding. If you cannot hear your surroundings, this can be unsafe. You want to be able to hear other people and cars so you can be alert and stay safe. Street signs. Just like cars, bikers also have to follow street signs. Street signs are designed for everyone, not just car drivers, to stay safe. When riding your bike, you should also follow the street signs as well. Riding rules. Since a lot of people driving their cars may not be able to hear you, bikers use hand signals to communicate with car drivers. It is important to make eye contact with drivers to make sure you know that they see you. If you are unsure if a car sees you, let the car go first just to be safe. Hand signals are a great way to communicate to drivers since they may not be able to hear you. So if we look at the picture over here, if you're riding your bike, you can let other people know what you plan on doing based on your arms. So maybe someone in a car might be listening to music or have their windows up or are too far away to hear you. You can always give the hand signal so they know which way you're going. So if you're riding your bike and put your hand out to the left, that means you are going to make a left turn. If you put your left hand up or you put your right hand out, that means you are going to turn right. And when you put your hand down, that means you are stopping. So this lets other cars know what you are doing while you are riding your bike, because a lot of times they may not be able to hear you because they have their windows up or they may be far away and they can't hear you. So we use our hand signals to communicate with other drivers, and these are the ones that we use to ride. So to review, riding your bike is a great way to exercise, but we want to make sure we do it safely. Our bike needs to be the correct size and needs to be checked regularly to make sure it is working properly. Check the air of the tires, the brakes, and the chain to make sure it is okay to ride. We want to make sure we have the right equipment and wear the right types of clothing. Wearing bright clothes and having lights and reflectors will help you be seen by cars and other people. You will also want to make sure your helmet fits correctly so your head is protected. When we are riding our bikes, we need to ride it in the correct direction. Since our bike has wheels like a car, we should ride our bike with the traffic going in the same direction. We need to be aware of our surroundings. Having headphones in our ears can make it hard to hear and is not safe for riding. We also want to make sure we follow the street signs just like cars. And lastly, to communicate with other cars, you can use hand signals to let them know which way you are going to ride your bike. So our picture over here shows a picture of the different hand signals again to communicate with other cars. It says always use the correct hand when using signals to ride your bike. We want to obey the rules of the road.